Hello, hello, and welcome. My name is Emily Smart, and I am the filmmaker liaison for Filmmaker Success. And at Filmmaker Success, we like to make movies, make money, and make the world a better place. Joanne Butcher is our illustrious host this evening, who will be telling you all about from finance to distribution of a feature film. She is a consulting producer with over 100 independent films under her belt. With a wealth of experience in fundraising and distribution, Joanne has a proven track record of facilitating the sale of numerous feature films and participating in the distribution of 20 features. As an expert in fundraising, Joanne has supported her clients through various channels, including major donors, grants, foundations, corporate sponsorships, and over 40 successful crowdfunding campaigns. Her involvement with organizations such as Brown Girls Doc Mafia, Slam Dance, the Brazilian Film Festival in Miami, and the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival have made her an integral part of the film community. As founder of Unstoppable, a disability film festival, and a frequent judge of the Forever Foundation, Joanne has been dedicated to mentoring and developing the careers of young creatives. With 143 feature films in various stages of development, from script to distribution, Joanne's specialty lies in helping filmmakers raise funds to get their projects made and distributed globally. Her extensive network and expertise in the film industry make her the go-to consultant for independent filmmakers seeking support with fundraising and distribution. All right, Joanne, we're ready for you.
Thank you so much, Emily. Good afternoon to our guests today. Thank you for signing up for the class. And it's good to meet you all. I'm here right now in Trinidad and Tobago to teach at their festival, a workshop that I'm teaching on finance. And so I said, well, I have my own class to teach, so I have to come down a couple of days early and teach from the hotel room. So that's where I am. I guess that's a very Trinidad and Tobago kind of painting behind me, so that's nice. So welcome. And I'm sure we're going to have other people join us soon enough. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we are doing. Oh, could I get the hosts back, Emily? Zoom technicalities. So what we're going to be doing in the next couple of days is looking at the topic, which is from finance to distribution. But as I wrote in an email today, I think that often what really I'm teaching is from distribution to finance. So that's really, really the most important thing, I think, about what we're going to be looking at in the next couple of days. What I find is that filmmakers don't know very much about distribution. And so when they can learn something about it, they actually do very, very well. Do I have the host back yet, Emily? Yeah. I'm not able to.
Yes, you do. You are host, but I am not co-host.
Okay. All right. So thank you, Emily. So what we're going to do is over this 2 days, I'm going to start by looking at distribution and seeing if we can't sort of lay a foundation of how distribution works and what to be thinking about when you're making your films. And really, wherever you're at in your filmmaking journey, you can still be thinking about distribution, because ultimately I believe that most filmmakers, what they're interested in is making a film that people see. You know, filmmakers want an audience for their work. And so distribution just covers, in a general sense, how filmmakers, how audiences get to see films. The easiest way maybe to explain it is that distribution is how an audience gets to see a film, and marketing is persuading them to actually watch that film. So distribution is getting the film into the hands of audiences. So I called this class From Finance to Distribution of a Feature Film, but the truth is I'm always putting distribution first. So welcome to everybody. And we will also, we have 2 days for the class. We'll have one little break in there, and we'll also have a couple of sessions where I'm going to put you in breakout meetings so that you can meet each other. I think that, when we all went on lockdown for COVID, Zoom turned out to be a really great way of meeting people. So I would like you to, it's a very small class this time. And so hopefully you'll get to meet everybody by the end of the class. And I'll get to learn a little bit about you as well. We will, so we'll have breakout sessions, we'll have a break, and then we finish at, is it 4 or 4:30, Emily? I never remember that.
4:30.
4:30. Okay, we'll finish at 4:30 Eastern time. So, all right, let's start with, I would like to find out how many people have made a short film so far. Okay. Neil and Theo, have you made short films?
Hi, Joanne. No, I haven't.
And where
Not
are you?
yet.
Where's that lovely accent from?
Oh, I'm
Theo?
from South Africa, Joanne.
South Africa.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I have a client in South Africa. She's very, very experienced producer. Neil, can you speak?
No, I haven't. No.
Oh my goodness, we have some beginners here. Fabulous. Welcome. And where are you calling from, Neil?
My name's Brett. It's Brett Joe. How are you? I don't know what it said. That's my surname.
What are you doing calling yourself Neil? No
My
wonder.
surname's Neil, so it's come up as Neil for some reason. So I do apologize.
No need to apologize. But please come on camera near Brett and look, see, I'm doing it again. Brett and Theo. So we've got Brett in the UK. We've got Theo in South Africa. Gian Maria, tell us where you're from.
Oh, I'm from Italy.
Oh my God, this is the most international group.
I'm from Italy.
It's the smallest class I've ever had and the most international. I don't know what that's about. All right, Leos, where are you from?
I'm from Israel, but I'm currently in Mexico.
What can I say? And then Emily and I are both in Trinidad and Tobago, because I'm here for the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival. And I'm teaching a class on Saturday on finance, which I basically always teach the same thing. I teach about business. What can I say? So we have a very international crowd. I'm so thrilled because, I don't tell this to any of my American clients, but I just get more excited when I have international clients because I'm just a very international person. I was born into a family in England of Trinidadians, and everybody did a lot of traveling. And so I just have always felt like a very international person. So it's great. That's great. All right. So Gian Maria, you have made, and is that what I should call you? Gian Maria, the whole thing?
Yeah, you can call me John, whatever.
Oh, Gian. Okay. You have made short films already.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. And have you made a feature film already?
No, I'm like writing and developing.
Excellent.
I'm in development.
Yes, in development. Okay, great. So, all right. Recently I got yelled at by a filmmaker because I had the audacity to say that a filmmaker had asked a question and they had never made a film before. And I said, you know, you can go ahead and make a feature film if you like. And this filmmaker got really mad and was yelling and yelling and yelling. And he was saying, you got to make shorts first. You got to make shorts first. You got to make shorts first. And I think that's great. Gian Maria has done it. I have many clients who are going that route. But also I really believe, and I have had clients who've done it, if you can raise the money to hire the people who have already made features, then you can go ahead and make a feature film. You just have to raise enough money to hire professionals who can make a feature film with you. So the first thing I want to do is to just go straight into talking about distribution. Can anybody maybe hazard a guess as to why distribution would be important if you're raising money for your film? Can anybody take a stab at why that
Because
would
if you have distribution, you got more likely to get investors. Is
right,
that-
but why would an investor be more
because
interested?
it's already half, not, I'd say distribution is probably one of the most important parts of your film, because if you don't get it distributed, no one's going to make no money back. So distribution, you make the money through the countries that buy it or streaming services, etc. And that's how you, well, I'm assuming that's how you get money back on your investment, initial investment.
Yes. So distribution is basically how anybody's going to make any money at all. So if I decided I'm going to go into the lipstick making business, then the most important thing about my lipstick is not really the packaging or the lipstick or the color. It's about where I'm going to sell it, you know, and given that none of you are in the US, so cool. But in the US, you know, if I had a contract with Walgreens, which is very common, it's everywhere, you know, or in England, if I had a contract with Boots, you know, then you would know I'd actually be able to sell my lipstick. So distribution is always a really important part of any business, because if you make a product, you need to be able to actually get that product out into the world. And that is done through distribution. So I think that I'm just going to take a moment to introduce myself and how come it is that I'm teaching this class. And my name is Joanne Butcher. I'm a business coach for filmmakers. And I used to run a first run cinema. And one important part of my job was selecting which films we showed. And so I worked directly with the distribution companies. We worked with companies like Cowboy Pictures, Lionsgate, Magnolia Pictures, all of the independent arms of the different companies, like when Sony and MGM and all of those companies realized, wait a minute, independent filmmakers are making money. We want that money. That's basically how I heard it. And they all set up their own, the independent distribution arms. I feel as though that's how big corporations always behave. It's sort of like, oh, there's a way to make money. We want that. But so we worked directly with them, and they would send us screeners of their movies, and I would watch them and I would pick which movies we showed at our cinema, which was on Lincoln Road in Miami Beach. And when we showed those movies, we would pay a percentage to the distributor, and we kept a percentage to run the cinema and pay the staff and all of that sort of thing. So years ago, I started working directly with distribution companies, and they were often, the ones that we worked with were often pretty small. We only ever talked with the owner of the company. And it was only when we sometimes worked with the bigger ones. I remember I remember having a conversation one time with Orion Pictures, and I was speaking to an accountant in the accounting department. So you can imagine when you get to be one of those big companies, you can have departments that are big enough to have accountants, but the smaller ones maybe didn't. Anyway, so I ran a cinema and I ran a film school. And so the film school was teaching filmmakers and teaching filmmaking, and the cinema was showing first run art house independent films. A lot of foreign films, a lot of gay and lesbian films, a lot of films from all over the world. And that was our specialization. And we were incredibly popular. And it was only because we were really part of the renaissance of Lincoln Road and Miami Beach, and the rents were raising at 1,000% a year. And eventually we had to move on and close down the cinema. But it was a very, very beloved organization, and people came from all over. So at the time that I was running the cinema, I was already a writer. I was teaching screenwriting. I was a film producer. And, I would always say, I'll do this, I'll run this cinema and film school for one more year, and then I'm going to get back to my own filmmaking. And I never did. I stayed in the field. I stayed as an arts administrator. And I was responsible for raising $500,000 a year to run the organization. And so eventually I looked around and I said, well, what is it that filmmakers need? I was teaching screenwriting. We were teaching, editing. We were teaching directing. We were teaching everything about filmmaking. And finally, I got together a focus group of filmmakers who'd already made a feature film. It was about 10 filmmakers that had already made a feature film. And I did this focus group and I interviewed them and I said, well, what is it that you need? And it turned out that they all said the same thing, was money. How do we get money? How do we get the money we need to make our films? So ever since then, I started teaching filmmakers how to raise money to make their films. And at the time, I put together a competition. It was called Florida Feature Film Competition, which always makes me laugh at how incredibly boring that is as a name. Anyway, it was called the Florida Feature Film Competition. And the prize was $25,000 cash and $175,000 of goods and services, and to make a micro budget feature film. And I still use that model today. Of the 6 finalists, I know of at least 4 of those features that have been made. At least 2 of the producers who were in those 6 finalists have gone on to be very, very successful. Brian Benson is one, Jamin O'Brien is another, who have gone on to take 7, 8 films to Sundance and really, really be leaders in the independent film production community. So that was how I started. And when the cinema closed, I decided that I didn't want to work in film anymore. And I left and moved to San Francisco and became a fundraiser. I became a professional fundraiser. And I ran capital campaigns, which means you raise money to build buildings, raise millions of dollars to build buildings. And I said, that's it. I'm out. I'm out of filmmaking. I'm going to get a real job. And so I was fundraising. I was pretty happy. I was very good at it, and ridiculously good at it. And within 2 years, I became too sick to work, and I didn't work for 7 years. And I lay in bed, fretting and worrying. For the first 3 or 4 years, I assumed I was going to become homeless, and I was terrified. And then I realized eventually, you know what, being scared is very, very time consuming and energy draining. So I stopped being scared, and I still had several more years to go of not working. And eventually I decided to start working with filmmakers again, even if it was just a couple of hours a week. I would work with filmmakers. And from then on, I've been very clear what my mission is in the world. And I'm back to being fully well and fully healthy And now, as Emily started at the beginning, my clients have 143 films in various stages of development. Minimally a script, a pitch deck, a budget, and a great ability to pitch verbally. And of those 143 films, 20 are already in distribution. And the lowest bar that I set for my clients is that they get distribution for their films. So, and it's just not necessarily something that filmmakers are thinking about, but I'm hoping that after today, you all are going to walk away thinking about distribution and putting it first on the things to think about. What is it that filmmakers tell me that they're looking for when they make their films? They usually tell me that they're looking to get their films into a film festival. And most filmmakers think, if I get my film into a film festival, then I will get distribution for my film. And the fact is that nothing could be further from the truth. There are a very small number of film festivals that are also film markets. And those film festivals we think of as the big film festivals: Sundance, Cannes, Toronto, Rotterdam, Berlinale, to a lesser extent, Tribeca and South by Southwest. Did I say Toronto? Because Toronto is definitely a market. But it's not that just that they're big festivals, it's that they're markets. And so the distribution companies go to those markets, and they go there with the express intention of buying films. Now, I just named, well, let's call it 10. It wasn't 10, it's less than 10 that are actual markets. But if you look at film festivals all around the country, it's something like 3,300 festivals. So if you think that there are 10 festivals that are actual markets where distributors actually go to watch films, that means there are 3,290 festivals where they don't go. Okay. This is another thing I have been yelled at in the past about. I got yelled at by a filmmaker who said that I was anti-film festivals. And I said, no, I mean, right now, I'm here in Trinidad at a film festival. I came all the way to another country to be at this film festival. I was at the opening night gala last night. It was a ball. You know, I was disappointed that I had to tell them, no, you can't send a car to pick me up today because I'm teaching. It's okay, I'll go tonight. But so I love film festivals. I was the president of the jury of the Brazilian Film Festival in Miami about a week ago. So I love film festivals, but this is the distinction I want to make. As a feature filmmaker, if you think that getting into a film festival is going to be how you get distribution, that is incorrect. Okay, so the only film festivals that will actually bring you to distribution are those ones that I just mentioned. So I'll say it again, just so I'll try and do it in the order in the year: Sundance, Rotterdam, Berlinale, Toronto, no, Cannes, Toronto. That's 5. And then I think you can probably also add Tribeca and South by Southwest. That's 7. Okay. So there are, hi Armando, there are 7 films that are both film festivals and markets. Okay. So if your film does not get into one of those festivals, then you can be almost 100% sure that you are not going to get distribution through a film festival. You know, so if you here's a good example. So I just recently moved back to Florida, and right after I moved back here, one of my clients films got into a little tiny film festival called Cenflo, CENFLO, tiny film festival. And I drove a couple of hours to meet my client who's from California. And he brought his mom and dad. He had his one of the leads from the film came with her mother. She was 15. The film was made 2 years ago, so you can see how young she is. And we had a ball, we had a ball at this film festival, and his film won Best Feature, which was amazing because it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday film festival, and they put his film on at 2:00 on a Friday afternoon when nobody was at the film festival, nobody. And it won Best Feature, which we were not expecting, but cool. And this film festival told us 2 distributors were coming to the film festival. And I was like, wow, that's unusual, but they never showed up. So, but it's very rare for a film festival to even be thinking about distribution. What a film festival is thinking about. In fact, let me see if anybody has any ideas. What do you think is the main goal of a film festival? What is the main goal of a film festival? Leo's.
Selling tickets.
Yes, selling tickets. So a film festival's job is to sell tickets to its audiences. Gian Maria, what's your
I mean, even connect with people.
Connect with
Connect
the
with
last
people.
word I missed?
Connect with people, like with
People.
other filmmakers or like producers there.
Okay, I would say that was the goal of the filmmaker,
Yeah.
right? What's the goal of the film festival? What is the film festival trying to achieve?
My volume.
Gian Maria.
Oh, like to, like show like a variety of films, to see like to show like, like a selection of maybe like the best products of the year. I don't like something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So the film festival's job is to show films, to show good films. And Leo said the job of the film festival is to sell tickets. Anything else that is the job that a film festival's doing? Anyone else raise their hand? Okay, but I think that's really significant, that those are the things that a film festival is designed to do, is to select good films and get audiences to their films and sell tickets. How much does the filmmaker make out of having their film at a film festival?
Like how much are they making from a film?
How much does the filmmaker make from having their film at the film festival? Leo's.
Well, I'm not sure. I'm guessing that they only have to pay in order to be there.
Yeah,
Right.
like
I mean, they pay a fee for registering and having their film shown. I don't think they make anything, but I'm not sure.
Who pays the fee? Who pays the fee?
The maker, the producer, the one,
Filmmaker.
yeah.
right?
Yeah. The filmmaker pays to
Yeah.
enter the film festival. Now, again, if you get your film into one of the top ones, if you get your film into Sundance, and one of the things I always say about short films is you should definitely apply with your short film to Sundance, because if you get your short film in Sundance, they will fly you in, put you up at a hotel, and you also still get to meet Robert Redford, right? So, but most film festivals are not like that. Gian Maria, see?
Oh, yeah, like when, you try to submit your film or like on Film Freeway, you have to pay the fee. But I see that, there are some festivals that if your film win, they have some cash prizes.
That's
Is it
true.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true. There are some prizes. Actually, last week at the Brazilian Film Festival, they gave a prize of, it was the process of subtitling a film. They gave that a prize, you know, and I remember years ago, Kodak used to give film to filmmakers as a prize. So yeah, you could get those prizes. But for example, when I went to meet my client at CENFLO, Central Florida Film Festival, that's what it stood for. You know, we all paid to get there. They paid to fly in from California, him, his mom and dad. You know, it's a lot of money. So filmmakers are spending a lot of money to go and show their film at a film festival. And for the most part, film festivals do not pay anything to filmmakers to show their films. Now, I do have my opinion about that, which I will not share right now. But once you get to be a more established filmmaker, once you have a distributor, often they will negotiate fees for you for your film at a festival. There was a distribution company that I used to work for that they used to negotiate fees for my clients. But even then, it was often not enough to cover the cost of attending the festival. So, you know, but anyway, film festivals are not a way for filmmakers to make money. Just to clarify that, they will cost money and you have to be careful about it and budget for it. So I'm just looking at the time here. Okay. I have a question. So if you're making a film, if you're making well, most of you have not made a feature film yet, but if you're making a feature film, now listen to this question very carefully. What does your film have to offer to a distributor? What does your film have to offer to a distributor? It's a very tricky question. So if nobody has an answer, that's okay. Leos, go ahead, give it a shot. Yes. Oh, you're muted, Leos.
Sorry, the distributor has to be able to sell it. So it has to be a film from they can sell. So it depends on a few factors. One of them is the genre, which some of them are more popular than others, or maybe the market is not saturated with some of them, whereas others saturate the market. And another thing that can be part of it is the big names and big stars.
So, Leos, you're starting to sound like one of my clients.
I wonder where that came from.
I wonder where that came from. So, Leos, listen to my question again, and just what does your film have to offer to a distributor? You were definitely on the right track. Just what does your film have to offer a distributor?
One of the answers is a big name.
No. It's more simple than that. What does your film have to offer to a distributor?
Popularity. Well,
you're closing in. You're closing in. Gian, what does your film have to offer a distributor?
You know, like there is like sellable, something that you can sell. You know, there is like not easy, but like properly like a genre and a story that you can sell.
That's something that you can sell, right? Because the distributor's job is to sell. Theo, am I saying your name right, by the way? Can you tell me how to pronounce your name?
Definitely, it's Theo.
It's Theo. Okay, good. Yes.
I'm thinking, okay, I'm up. Let me take a guess. A good storyline. I think that's what, for me, if a storyline that would obviously sell something that's relevant to the people.
Yes, but I think, Theo, that you are thinking more about the filmmaker than the distributor. This is a tricky question, so thank you even for trying.
Thank you.
All three of you, thank you for trying. But what you have to offer a distributor is that the distributor can make money. And the interesting thing, oh, Armando, what are you, you're muted, so you need to unmute.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
What I was thinking is a quality film.
Well, I would assume it's a quality film, right? We're all going to make quality films, yeah? But what we have to offer a distributor is that they can make money. And the film industry is set up like this in every area. Filmmakers will say to me, how do I get an agent? You will get an agent when the agent knows that you can make them money, right? You will get a distributor when the distributor knows that you can make them money. You'll get a manager when the manager knows you can make them money, right? So when we are working in this, you know, as I said, on this side of the continuum, on the business side of the continuum, then it's always that we are working with people who are interested in working with us if they can make money. And so the reason that we're looking, Leos, for all your examples, you know, for big names, or Theo's example of a great storyline, or Armando's example, you know, all of those things are nice, but a distributor simply wants to know one thing: can I make money? And because, I mean, this is really one of the reasons why in the film world, the gatekeeping is so strict. It's so strict is because people need to make money. And if they're working with people who are not making them any money, then it's just a waste of time. You know, they have to work with people who can make the money. So they keep the gates closed to everybody so that the only people who get in are the ones who can make the money. Oh, Beyonce. Oh, J-Lo. You know, let's close the gate. Denzel got in. But so the industry is set up like that, you know, and this is why it's so hard for filmmakers to actually get through those gates, is because they only want to let people in who are going to make them money, you know. And I think that it's a hard thing to wrap our brains around, but if you can, it makes life simple. The industry is very simple. Can we make money? That's it. You really have nothing else to say. You know, filmmakers, we're always talking about the great storyline and the strong film, and no, they're very simple. Can we make money? And so what we're doing here is learning how to speak their language. Okay, so I'm gonna put you in a breakout room so that you can have a little time to meet each other, and maybe you can talk a little bit about what is this feature film that you have in mind, and you can talk about, you know, how this film is going to make money. Okay, but I'm going to give you 5 minutes, and we're just going to do a little socializing. As I said, by the end of tomorrow, I want you all to have met each other. So I'm going to make, okay. So we're going to have 5 minutes. Okay. All right. See you in 5 minutes. Here's everybody. That's so great, Emily, that you always remember to start the recording again. That's great. So who would like to tell me a little bit about their partner's film?
I will. I'll go first.
Yay, Brett. Go ahead. Be
My
brave.
camera's just playing up at the moment. It's a new laptop, Joe. I'm just trying to get used to it. It's a Mac.
No.
I've gone from a Windows to a Mac, so it's a bit all
Oh.
over the place with it. But yeah,
Brett, let me congratulate you on going from a Windows to a Mac.
yeah, I don't think it was the right decision, if I'm honest.
I think it was, but it takes a minute.
Okay. But yeah, Lorenzo's he's made
Lorenzo,
not Lorenzo. Is that
Leo,
Leo? Sorry, Leo. My apologies. He's told me about his short film that he's made, which is a thriller. He's made it with his partner, and it's about someone in a car. They have a car accident, and then they're my apologies. They believe that they are in hospital alive, but they're actually dead, which is quite crazy because it's a mad thriller, which is a nice concept, which is a bit different to what I'm used to hearing about within a film idea. So I'm actually looking forward to the end product of seeing how that comes about. And he said that he works alongside you. He's a new client of yours, and they're going to film in Israel, and they're going to star in it themselves, which is good. And so it looks like he's got his plan in place. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing his work. That
was great, Brett. And what I would say is, Leo's, good job for somebody to be able to repeat all of that and know all of that about your project. Good job. Anybody else want to take a shot? Tell me about their partner's film. Leo's, go ahead.
Well, actually, I don't know about the projects themselves. I just know that Brett is a writer and he wrote 3 thrillers, and now he's looking to raise money to produce his thrillers.
Fantastic.
But he hasn't told me about the plot.
Aha. Interesting. Yeah, it's funny. One of the things that I do with my clients is I train my clients how to pitch. And as Brett just told us, Leo's is a very brand new client, but already the difference in being able to pitch is, because for somebody to be able to repeat all of that so well, that takes some work. So pitching is a really, really important skill for a 21st century producer to have. And so one of the things that I can tell you all that filmmakers tend to do is they'll say, oh, I'm making a documentary, or they'll say, oh, I'm making a horror film, and that's it. They don't, or I'm making a film. they don't say anything, but it's, in just a few seconds, you can give a lot of clarity about your film and be able to pitch it and let everybody know what your film is about, instead of just sort of talking around it, and the reason I think that verbal pitch is so important is because often, you're going to end up speaking to people. When you're raising money, you're going to end up speaking to people about your film. And you never know where you might meet an investor. Last night, I was at the opening night gala, and I'm trying to get reconnected back with the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival. I used to teach here every year, and then the founder retired 4 or 5 years ago, and then COVID hit, and I just got disconnected from the festival. And I was just here 5 weeks ago. I gave the eulogy at my father's funeral, and I was talking to one of my stepmom sisters. I said, do you know anyone at the festival? By the next day, I was already, working on coming here to teach. But one of the things that happened last night was I'm looking around and I was like, I don't know anybody. It wasn't really a filmmaker event. It was more of a supporters of the film festival event. And so I met this young lady who introduced me to her aunt, who introduced me to her best friend, who introduced me to somebody else, who introduced me to a film investor. And I wasn't even expecting that. I was thinking I'm going to come and meet the people who are running the festival, but I ended up meeting a film investor, and with a very specific interest in what he wants to do. So I'm going to get to talk to him before I leave and be able to have a project for him. He's looking for projects that connect the Caribbean and Africa. And so I have that project. So it's really good. But in those kind of situations, which are very, very common, you may only have a few seconds to tell somebody about your film. So it's a really, really good skill to have. All right, we are going to talk about distribution. And as I said at the beginning, I called this class From Finance to Distribution of a Feature Film, but I always start with distribution. So we're going to go through some things. I think that it would be a really good idea if you take some notes. This is some very boring stuff. I'm going to try to make it not too boring for you. But I'm going to show you a little presentation that I made, if I can find it. And how do I make... Oh no, this is the one. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to show it with this. I want just one window. All right. Okay. Share my screen. So yeah, take notes. I end up always having to sort of test my clients on this stuff. Because it's just not intuitive. It's not intuitive. So when we talk about distribution in the film industry, we talk about distribution windows. And so a window happens one after the other. And this is a very important concept. I have a friend, she's the film commissioner in Montana. And she started out as an economics major. And she kind of fell into film by mistake. She was at college and she ended up getting a job as a receptionist while she was paying her way through school at the film department. And she realized, as an economics major, think about this, economic concept, she realized film is a very interesting thing, because I mentioned to you about my lipstick business. Okay, now how many times can I sell this lipstick? How many times can I sell this lipstick? One time. Okay, because if I sell my lipstick to Emily, it's now hers, and that's it. Okay, so we sold it for $7.99, $12.99, or whatever, and that's it. Film is not like that. Film is a commodity, thinking of this as an economics issue. Film is a commodity that you can sell, then you can sell it again, then you can sell it again, then you can sell it again, then you can sell it again. And one of the really fun things that's happening right now, I do Clubhouse every week. Clubhouse is an audio app where we could meet like this, like on Zoom, but it's just audio. And all the moderators in my Clubhouse room have already made minimally one feature film, if not many feature films. And we have two guys who come on every week. One is a very old friend of mine, Gary Sales, and the other one I just recently met on Clubhouse, Paris Moore. And they both happen to have films that they made 30 years ago. And those films they made 30 years ago are making more money now than they've ever made before. Isn't that interesting? they're making more, and I'm talking micro budget movies. Okay. Gary made a movie called, oh, wait, I've forgotten the name of the film. It was a micro budget horror film that he made about 30 years ago. Something Man, what is it? Begins with M. If Emily can look it up, maybe she'll find it. And now they're talking about making a remake of it. But this low budget horror film that he made was his first film that he made 30 years ago. It's making more money today than it's ever made. And one of the reasons for that is because, and we're going to get to this in the distribution windows, but there's a new distribution window that didn't exist before 10 years ago. It didn't exist. And now filmmakers are making a lot of money in that window. And one thing that you'll hear when you go out there and you talk to filmmakers out there who are not my clients, but when you talk to filmmakers out there in general, they will often say, everything is changing. Everything is changing in the distribution world. Everything is different now. But they're saying it like that as if it's a really bad thing. But the truth is that there are some very good things happening for independent filmmakers right now. So the first distribution window, does anybody know what the first distribution window is? Anybody know? Anybody want to give it a shot? Give it a shot. Come on, give it a shot. What's the first distribution window? I already talked about this in my personal story. I already talked about this. I ran a what? What's the first place that the movies get shown?
The cinema.
In the cinema.
Yes,
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. In the cinema. So the very first distribution window is the cinema. It's known as theatrical. And when a movie is shown in the theater, I mean, right now, the numbers for Barbie and Oppenheimer, right, are massive. Hundreds of millions of dollars are being made in the theatrical window. Can somebody look up while we're talking what Barbie or Oppenheimer has made so far? Just somebody look up what one of those movies has made.
Barbie's made over $1 billion.
Over
Yeah, billion. A
And
billion. Yeah.
Oprah's made 817.
Oppenheimer's made 870 million.
817 million last time I looked.
817 million. Okay. So Oppenheimer had a budget of either 100 or 180 million dollars. I can't quite figure out which one is correct, but it had a marketing budget of 100 million dollars. You know, 100 million dollars. But so if you spend 100, let's even call it 200 to make the movie. Let's use this as our example. I'm going to make up some numbers. So let's pretend Oppenheimer was made for $200 million. And then we spent 100 million on marketing. And Brett just now told us, thank you very much, that it's made $817 million so far. Is that good business?
Very.
Very good business,
Very
right?
good
You
business.
spend 300 million and you make 800 million. Okay. Now, yeah, Leos?
When we speak about these kind of numbers, it's good business regardless of percentage.
What do you mean percentage?
I mean that right now we're talking about spending 300 million and making more money than that. But especially for me as an individual, if I raise 300 and make 100 million, it's still good business. Because
No, it's not.
earning, percentage wise, no, but for me, like making more money than I spend by a certain amount of time, making 100 million, whatever, dollars, that's a lot of money for this time since it was released.
Okay, but okay. But what I would say though, I just want to be clear. If you spend 300 million and you make 100 million, you just lost $200 million.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes, okay. I meant 100 million of gain, of profit, because here we're talking about more than that.
Okay, so just to be clear, we've
Yes,
spent
of course.
300 million, we've made 800 million. Okay, what I thought you were going to say was something different. Now, I mentioned earlier there is a split between what the distributor gets and what the filmmaker gets, or the producers get, right? So let's call it 50-50. All right, now we've spent 300 million. How much does has the producer made so far?
If it's half, it's 150 million.
How much?
Wait a second. You spent 300 million for the film.
Yeah, we've made let's call it 800.
All right. So the profit is 5, and the producer gets half of it, so it's 2.5.
No. You're adding in words that don't exist.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, okay. No. All right. So it's 500. So this, no, that's not how it works.
Really
Okay.
good.
All right.
You said
We spent-
800 million profits?
Yes.
You said?
I didn't say
400
profit.
million.
I just said it's made don't add in the word profit because that's
Okay.
not accurate. All right. So we spent 300. We've made 800. Okay.
Mhm.
How much is the producer going to get of the
100. 100.
No.
It's
No,
half
500.
minus
400.
No.
400.
Is it not 5?
400.
Okay.
400,
Theo,
yeah.
Theo, what did you
50-50.
say?
I said 500, Joanne.
400.
500.
No,
Five.
because
Oh,
But
it's
if half of it is foreign, you have to
Yeah, 400.
reduce your
400.
investment.
the producer has got 400 so far,
Yeah, because
right?
it's 50-50.
We're just doing a simple numbers I can do. All right.
Yeah,
So
50-50.
the theater got 400. The producer got 400. All right.
But the
Is
producer
that
spent
good
3.
business? The producer spent 300. That's the point I'm trying to get clear. There's no split with the distributor of the cost of the film. This
Right.
one doesn't
Right.
happen, right?
So it's-
So the producer spent 300. The producer made 400. Is that good business?
It's still good business to me because he made 100
Yeah, it's good.
million.
Made $100 million. Okay.
It's a
So
better business for the distributor, though.
well, what are the distributors' costs?
All right.
We don't know.
We didn't
We don't
think
know.
about that. Right,
We don't know. And I wasn't even talking necessarily the distributor, but the cinema. I was saying 50-50 for the cinema. The cinema is only partly that's split with the distributor. So, but I don't want to go there. So the producer spent 300, got 400 back. That's 100 million in profit. All right.
But
Okay. Now,
50-50 is not too much.
what do you mean 50-50?
Like it has to be like 50-50, or you can change the percentage.
Well, that's a really great question, Gian. And it's really funny, Gian. I have a friend here in Trinidad called Gian, who I'm texting with to try to visit on set tomorrow. So that's interesting. Anyway, so 50-50 is what I was using as an example.
Mhm.
Okay. When I ran a cinema, I tended to book films that were 30-70. So 30 to the distribution company and 70 to me, or 40-60 that were 40 to the distributor, 60 to me. When it started to get to 50-50, it started to be painful for me because I had all kinds of bills to pay. I had staff, I had
I agree with you.
I had rent, I had all, it started to be difficult. And if we were offered a bigger movie, Barbie, for example, you know how much I would get out of Barbie? I would make 10%. Yeah, it would be 90-10. It would be 90-10. And so the theater is making this is now getting into the weeds a little bit, but it starts out at 90-10. The theater gets 10%, the filmmaker gets 90. And then after a few weeks, the theater gets 20, the filmmaker gets 80, and after a few weeks, the theater gets 30, right? So the percentages change. And it's not something that you, the filmmaker, have any decision-making power over how that all works out. And it's been done this way. When everybody says everything is changing, everything is changing, everything is changing, I'm like, this is the way it's been done for 100 years. This is the way it's been done. Okay, now, how much money are we going to make from our movie Oppenheimer ultimately in theatrical? How much are we ultimately going to make? We've now made $100 million profit. How much are we ultimately going to make in theatrical? We don't know. Armando, you're right. You got the trick question. We don't know. And this movie will stay in the theaters until it stops making money. Right? Mm-hmm. So right now we're at 800 million. And if you go to IMDb Pro and you look at how much the film is making every week, it's going to go down and down and down and down and down and down. Okay? Does anybody know when the movie stops making money in the theater, do you know what happens next to that movie?
It's gonna be like
goes to another window, how you call it?
The platforms, streaming platforms.
The platforms. Armando said the next window. Armando gets the gold star because that's the right answer. The next window. Does anybody have any idea what the next window is?
Probably TV.
Yeah.
Streaming services, Amazon Prime.
Streaming.
Okay.
Cable TV or something.
No, that is not the next window.
Maybe airline companies, stuff like that.
No, that is actually not in the sequence. We're going to
Buy
get
to rent.
All right.
Yeah, on DVD or on video.
Nope. All right.
Isn't it where you share it with live with so for example, you can buy it on Amazon even though it's still in the cinema at the same time?
Okay, that's another wrinkle that I'm not going to get into, but I'm talking about the windows. I'm telling you to write these things down and memorize them because it's the only way to remember them. But in order for you to be precise in your language in the way the industry works, this is the next window, TVOD. TVOD stands for Transactional Video on Demand. And transactional video on demand is, for example, now we're all over the world here, but in America, if I'm paying cable, if I pay a cable subscription and watch stuff on my TV, I can rent movies directly from my cable company. In America, we have Comcast, we have Spectrum. In the Caribbean, we have Flow. In the UK, we have maybe Sky, or that's I don't know if they're a cable company, but anyway, so they have cable and we get to watch all these different channels, but we also have the option of renting a movie for X number of dollars. Okay, does everybody? Yeah. All right. So when you have that opportunity where you can rent a movie directly from your cable company, that's called TVOD. I had a friend years ago who used to work for Variety magazine. You know, Variety is the kind of most important entertainment trade journal for the entertainment industry. And she was a journalist. She was based in Mexico City. And for 8 years, her journalistic beat was Mexican pay TV, which is another word of talking about it. That was all she wrote about, Mexican paid TV. Can you imagine? But that was all she wrote about, Mexican paid TV. What is happening in the world of TVOD in Mexico? And so now what's happening is there's starting to be a little bit of a blurring between the windows. So Brett just mentioned about You can pay for it on video while it's still at the cinema, things like that. That's getting a blurring. It used to be a very hard line between, you would see it at the cinema, it would be on 5 times a day, then 3 times a day, then 1 time a day, then only at 9 o'clock at night, you know, before it finishes at the cinema. And then it would go to TVOD. And now it's a little softer line. But transactional video on demand is when the consumer puts out a credit card and buys 1 copy of that film. So how am I doing compared to my lipstick business? All right. So
Not better.
a lot better. We made the 800 million in the theatrical window. We don't even know how much the theatrical window is going to make. We don't know where this movie is going. As I said, if we looked at IMDb, go ahead with your question, Leos.
So I just wanted to mention that I was surprised actually to see that the J-Lo movie, it was probably the recent one, was released both to the theaters and to what do you call it, Netflix at the same time.
Well, that's a Netflix strategy that they've been using for a long time. So let's look actually at, can you see this? Because sometimes Zoom doesn't switch. Are you seeing the
No.
box office numbers?
No.
No.
No,
Okay.
it's still stuck on the first slide.
Still stuck on the
Joy.
first slide. Okay, let me go
Yeah.
back. All right, so this is the numbers for Oppenheimer. So it opened on Friday, July the 21st. You see that?
Mhm.
You seeing that now? And it made 33 million in the first weekend. Look at that. It kept
That's in
going up.
US and Canada.
It kept going up. It
Mhm.
kept going higher and higher and higher. Why would it go
Word
higher
of
and
mouth.
word of mouth?
Word of mouth.
Because when it came out on July the 21st, well, actually, my father died on July the 22nd, so I was very distracted with what was going on in my family. But I had no interest in going to see Oppenheimer, even though I'm a big Christopher Nolan fan. I had no interest. I'm like, why do I want to see a movie about nuclear? I don't want to see a movie about nuclear bombs. But as the word of mouth kept going, and remember, they spent $100 million on advertising. The movie goes up and up and up and up and up and up. So it's making more and more money. And then we get to the current date, Tuesday, the September the 19th. It's now made 319 million in the US and Canada, and it continues to make money. So, oh, it's 913. Okay, we're a bit richer than we thought we were 5 minutes ago. 913 million. And I don't know when that's going to stop, right? It's just going to keep going. So if we go back to, now, are you seeing theatrical again on your screen? Yes. Okay, good. So with our movie Oppenheimer, we're not ready to let it go from theatrical yet. Okay, we're going to keep making money in theatrical, but eventually we're going to move it to TVOD. Now, what happens here is a very interesting thing. I will not be able to ever look up and see how much Oppenheimer made on TVOD, because those numbers are not published anywhere. And so what happens is people often make the mistake of thinking, oh, Oppenheimer made $913,000 and that was it. But that was only its first window. Unless a filmmaker, for some reason, decides to reveal what it made in another window, we're basically never going to know. We can only guess. We can only guess. But once you have spent $100 million on marketing, you're going to be making a lot of money in TVOD. Yes, Jan?
Oh, yeah, just want to ask why they don't publish the, the amounts for the TVOD.
That's a good question. I don't know the answer to, but what I would say is that when the major studios have been for, as I said, at least 100 years making big movies. One of the things that I personally believe is that the film studios have become better at being able to hide their profits than most businesses on the planet. And that, I mean, one way that they do it, for example, is they will have a production company, you know, one arm of the business is a production company, and that production company sells it to the distribution company, their own distribution company, and it's always at a loss, you know, and then they sell that to their own, you know, TVOD company, and they lose money there. And then, you know, and one of the things that I think is the genius about Hollywood is they have persuaded every single cinema goer that films at the theater don't make money. Have you heard that line?
Yes.
Yes, Armando, right?
Yeah,
They say, oh no, we always lose money at the theater. We only make money on popcorn and selling drinks. That's why they can charge you $10 for popcorn. Why? Because they've persuaded you that they're not making any money on the movie. They're only making money on the popcorn. It's all BS. They're all making money hands over fist. So all this business about, you know, SAG and WGA are on strike and the networks are struggling and it's so hard for them. BS. And it always will be that way. It always will be that way. All right. So anyone? Yeah, Armando, go ahead.
Yes. TVOD. Who actually put the movie on TVOD or made the arrangement or do the deal? Is the distribution company or is the production company?
So by this time, the producer has a distribution company that is doing all of those negotiations for them.
Okay.
And the distribution company, or better, let's use the word sales agent. It's better to use the word sales agent. The sales agent is now also making money on this project. All right, but they are going to negotiate, they're going to set up the theatrical, they're going to negotiate with the cable companies about the TVOD. They do all of that work. So the sales agent, I work with a sales agent who takes 20%, which is pretty low by industry standards. And somebody was the other day was saying, well, why would I want to pay them 20%? I could go straight to Netflix. I said, oh, you know somebody at Netflix? Oh, you know how to negotiate with Netflix? Because Netflix is not somebody you want to negotiate with by yourself. They are going to take every penny that they can from you. All right. So, and international sales agents are not lawyers, but they serve in this kind of negotiation role to try to get as much money to the producer as possible. Why? Because they're making money. All right. Anybody have an idea what the next window is after TVOD? Anyone have an idea what comes after TVOD?
DVD on demand?
No.
Video on demand?
No. You're thinking correctly though, but it's not that. And I'll come to DVDs later. After you can pay, you know, with your credit card, $8.99 for a copy of the movie, what happens to the movie next? Leoz, go ahead.
It's going to rain now. Rent?
I didn't hear, Armando, what you said.
Now it's like renting the movie?
No, we just rented it on TVOD.
Okay.
So where does it go
I saw
next?
it was selling. I thought that yeah, now I have the movie forever with me. And in the other one, I just rented.
That's a good point. But because on TVOD, you do, I don't know if you have the opportunity to buy the movie permanently.
Sometimes you do. It costs like a lot more.
Yeah. I think you have it already with you in your computer or whatever.
Sometimes.
It depends how much you pay. Usually, you know, as far as I know, you can pay a little bit to watch it within 24 hours, or you can pay more and get it forever. But I think later on, what happens is that some cable companies and companies like that release films that are free for the audience. I mean, not free.
Right, but we're
for
sticking
their-
with Oppenheimer. We're making Oppenheimer. We're already past that. So what comes after TVOD? What comes after the taking out your credit card and putting in your information? What comes after that? Gian, go ahead.
I think like SVOD.
SVOD. And what does SVOD stand for?
Isn't like the subscription that like you have to pay
Subscription?
like a subscription for a certain numbers of contents of like a
No,
catalog, like
not for
something.
certain numbers of content. What is it for? What's the subscription for?
Like
Video on
some-
demand.
For the streamer, with the
yeah,
streamer.
Subscription. Give me an
Yeah.
example of a subscription. Give me an example.
Netflix.
Yeah, Netflix. So
yeah,
how
like a
how
platform.
you're paying your subscription on a monthly basis,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So Jan, it's exactly not what you said. It's not money for a certain amount of content. It's money per month.
Hmm.
Money per month to
Okay,
have
yeah.
access to all the content.
Mhm.
So one of the ways Netflix makes its money is it keeps putting on new content. I actually I got a little notification that came on my computer screen yesterday, and it said season 2 of the Murdaugh murders. I don't know if anybody outside America has followed the murder trial of Alec Murdaugh, but I have to say that anybody who likes crime, that series was one of the best things I've ever seen. It's a documentary series about Alec Murdaugh, who's this very, 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 very wealthy lawyer who just recently was found guilty of murdering his wife and son. But it's an incredible, incredible story. And a little thing came up on my screen that said, second season of the Murdaugh murders. And I'm like, oh my God, I gotta watch that. But I had to go to bed and get ready to teach my class, so I have to wait. But so Netflix knows that I watched season 1. It knows that I'll be interested in season 2 because I watched the whole thing all the way through to the end, right? So they're putting on new content all the time to keep their viewers paying that monthly subscription, right?
What does it stand
So-
for? CVOD.
Pardon?
What does CVOD stand for?
S.
Sorry. Yes, sorry.
S-
Subscription.
Subscription.
Yeah, subscription is, but what's the rest?
Video on demand.
So what's the T in the previous window?
Transactional
Thank
video.
you.
Write it down, write it down, write it
Yeah,
down.
I am writing it down, but I got it wrong.
Nobody ever remembers this boring stuff. Theo, have I bored you to death already?
Not yet. I'm here. I'm taking notes.
Good. All right. What comes after subscription video on demand? What comes after subscription video on demand?
Maybe TV that is free,
Yes. And what's that called?
public television. I don't know.
No, that's something very different. Very different.
Cable TV. Cable TV.
No, I
Pay for
think
cable.
cable really is where we were at TVOD. What comes after SVOD?
Commercial television.
Yes. So AVOD, which stands
AVOD.
for Advertising Supported Video on Demand. It's also called FAST, which stands for Free Advertising Supported Television. Or is that right? TV, television? Anyway, I can never remember FAST, but AVOD is Advertising Supported Video on Demand. Now, this is the one that I was saying, the window that I was saying before 10 years ago, this did not even exist. So we now, as filmmakers, we have a place where we can earn money that 10 years ago was not available to us. And when I said that I have these two friends who have like 30-year-old films, oh, Mad Men, that's the name of Gary Sales's movie, Mad Men. Gary Sales's movie Mad Men is making money again because of AVOD. And the first AVOD company that I noticed was called Pluto TV. They were just mentioned yesterday. What context was that? Oh, because they're doing originals. So they're now working with filmmakers to make content of their own. But Pluto TV was founded in August of 2013. So exactly 10 years ago and 1 month today. One of the interesting things about AVOD is that filmmakers making micro-budget films or low-budget films are making a lot of money. And I'll give you an example. Some filmmakers that I met in Miami, they made a film. I don't know what the budget is, but I'm going to guess it's something like $700,000. I know it's not $1 million. And these were first-time filmmakers. Are you seeing my screen now with the IMDb?
Yeah.
Are you seeing it? Yeah. Okay. Oh, Gian Maria, did you have a question? I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand.
Oh yeah. I wanted to say, how it's called when, like, for example, Amazon, that you have like you pay like a monthly fee, and then there are some other films that you have to pay extra. How it's called when it's like both?
I would say that that's what I was calling about the softening of the lines between one and another. So it's kind of somewhere between TVOD and SVOD, because you've already paid the subscription, but you can also pay extra, so it's just a softening of those lines, a blurring of those lines, or to put it more simply, just more ways for them to learn how to make money.
Okay.
This film, Secret Society, was a low budget film, but these filmmakers put in $200,000 into advertising. Okay.
By the way, I'm in this movie.
No, you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, the new
Play
one.
one of the bad guys.
The new one, Secret Society 3.
Oh,
that
you're
we
in
film.
Secret Society 3. Are you
Yeah,
in
we film.
Miami, Gian Maria?
No, but I've been there for 4 years, and I'm coming like in January. But yeah, like we filmed in May the 3rd, and yeah, I'm there.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you play a bad guy?
I mean, I played the French valet. There was like welcoming, the main actresses with a car to the horse place for, the big events. It's like it was in Paris. It was supposed to be in Paris, yeah.
Ah, fantastic. Oh, what's
Yeah.
so
I don't know when it's gonna be released.
No, I haven't seen Secret Society 3. I haven't seen it. But Miasha Coleman and her husband Rich Coleman, when they made this film, they put it themselves on Amazon. As I said, it was their first film. They had no idea what they were doing. They put it on Amazon. It was doing very well for them. They already have existing IP. The Secret Society was a book that Miasha wrote 20 years ago. It was the first book she ever wrote. She's been writing books ever since, making a lot of money. I mean, I'm sure they're millionaires from their books. And so she decided, for their first film, they decided to go with her first book. And they made Secret Society, and they put it on Amazon. Apparently it was doing very well. And then they had a colleague who said, put it on Tubi. Tubi TV is an AVOD platform, a fast platform. Leoz, Theo, you're not in America, so you won't have seen this. Brett, you won't have seen this unless you can get a VPN and check it out. But it's called Tubi, TUBI.TV. And they put it on Tubi TV, and in 1 week, it had made $100,000. $100,000 in its first week on Tubi TV. So as I said, for a window that didn't exist 10 years ago, this is pretty amazing. And what is also showing up on Tubi is that underserved audiences, or underserved filmmakers who make films for underserved audience, so African American, women, minorities, are really making money on Tubi. So this is very, very exciting for us. Okay, so imagine, when do you think Oppenheimer is going to get onto AVOD, where we can watch it for free if we're willing to watch the ads? How long do you think it's going to take?
A year and a half, 2 years, or we never know, because we don't know how long it's going to be on the cinema in the first place.
We don't know. We don't know, but it's not going to be a year and a half. And I'll give you an example at the other end of the scale. Can you see this movie, Krisha? Can you see it? Is it showing up?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Okay. So Krisha was a first feature film made for $30,000. And the director cast his whole family in the film. And this lady is Krisha. That's his aunt. That's her real name, Krisha. And Krisha was picked up for distribution by A24. Is everybody familiar with A24?
No.
A24 is probably the hottest independent film studio in the country right now. A24 and Blumhouse, probably. So there are two professional actors in this film. Everybody else was his family. And Krisha was in, it made $143,000 in theatrical. And then it was in TVOD, maybe for 10 years. I would check every now and then. Krisha was made in 2015, and it was in TVOD until about a year ago. So it was making money in transactional video on demand, enough money that they kept it there before it finally went into subscription about a year and a half ago. And now you can see Krisha on HBO. So then they just made another sale to HBO, right? And then one day Krisha will go to AVOD, but not yet. It's still making money. It's still making money in its prior windows. Okay. So now a couple of you have brought up some other windows. So ancillary windows means that they're not in the order of the windows. Those windows we just went through, they go in order. And that's historically how it's always been. But there are some ancillary windows, means it happens at the same time as. So DVD sales happens at the same time as, and it could be that they start being sold once TVOD starts. It could be sold once SVOD starts. It depends on the on what you negotiate. I just flew to Trinidad, and I was able to see films on there. Like, there was some big children's animation that I was able to see. I was like, oh, that's already on the airlines. So the airlines get them pretty early on, right?
Also cruise companies, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
They have their
Airlines,
own,
cruise, yes.
yeah.
Another one that is ancillary is closed circuit. So cruise lines might be the same as airlines, or it might be closed circuit. Closed circuit are in airports, hotels. So if you get a deal where your film is shown on closed circuit or in hotels, that is a completely separate window. That's a completely different pot of money than all the windows that we just went in order. And that is the end. Okay. So how do you think our film Oppenheimer is going to do financially?
It's already doing great.
We already made a profit in the first window.
I wish
think
I could do that.
I think you're gonna get close to 80%, 90%, almost 100%
Percent of what? 90% of what?
over. I mean, how I say it, after recoup. After they
But we already
that's what I'm saying.
300 million, right,
Yeah.
in theatrical.
So I'm gonna do few percentages about that, maybe 50, 80%.
Well, I think if we are making 900 million in theatrical, I think we're going to make more than that in the other windows,
Mhm.
you know? And so it probably won't even go into AVOD for, I mean, Krisha took nearly 10 years, and Krisha's a $30,000 movie. Okay, it's a very special movie. I would recommend you all watch it. See how he did that for $30,000, and you know, but Krisha made for $30,000. It made 140,000 in theatrical. Again, it already made all its money back, right, in theatrical, and then it was able to make money in all these windows. So the reason I took you through that painful journey.
It wasn't painful.
It wasn't. Thank you so much for saying that. That was very kind.
It was very, very illustrative.
Good.
We learned a lot of that.
Right. It's because what I find is that most filmmakers have no idea about what I just taught you. No idea. And so when we come back to what we're really talking about in this class, which is from finance to distribution, this is why I want you all to know about distribution first. Because a lot of times a filmmaker will tell an investor, oh, well, look at this example, and they'll show a film and it's on IMDb and it was made for $10 million, and in theatrical it made $3 million. Does that mean the film lost money?
Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, exactly. It has been traditionally thought that in the independent film world, what the film makes in theatrical is actually a marketing budget, if that makes any sense. So if you make a film for $1 million and then it makes $700,000 in theatrical, that's considered marketing, because you're trying to get the word out about the film. It's coming out in cities, it's getting press coverage, it's getting, you know, the actors are on the TV or whatever, it's getting all this free publicity and stuff. So that turns into your marketing budget. So you just spent it, you made 700,000, but actually that's how you market the movie. And then you start making your money through all the other windows: TVOD, SVOD, AVOD, DVDs, airlines, right? So one of the things that as a filmmaker you need to realize is this simple concept, that when you make a film, you can sell it, you can sell it again, you can sell it again, and you can sell it again, and you could be making money from your movie 30 years down the road of a film that you made in 2023. Okay. And if you created a deal with your investors where they were always going to make 20%, then they'll be making 20% 30 years down the road, right? If that was the deal that you made with your investors. But can you see how once you can talk about distribution in this way, now you can speak more clearly to an investor and show them how they're going to make their money back. Do you all see that? Good. All right. Well, that was the hard part. All right. So what we're going to do, I'm going to take a little break just till 3:30. So 15-minute little break. I'm going to make myself a cup of tea and we'll take a 15-minute break and then we'll come back at 3:30 my time. Anyway, at the half past the hour. Okay. And I will see you in 15 minutes and we'll start with actually raising the finance. Hi, everybody. We are on the second half of our from finance to distribution of a feature film. But we started with distribution. So now that we've understood the distribution piece, and now that we've understood that we're really in a very, very, very special business, which doesn't work like other businesses. But it's also a very opaque business. And it's one in which we can't really find out exactly how much any given film makes. As I said, what I'd like you all to notice right now is when you're reading about films and everything and reading about studios, they're always playing this little, you know, the tiniest violin in the world, you know. Oh, it's so hard for us, it's so hard to make money, you know. And you see that there are films that fall really flat and don't make money and things like that, but still, even if they don't make money at the theater, they still keep making money. So there's a story out there that has been completely 100% successfully sold to the general cinema going audience, that it's really hard for the studios. I just want you to watch and see that out there. Also, I would like to say a little bit about working with me. If can I come to you later, Leos? If you would like to talk to me about working with me, what I really do is help filmmakers to raise money. And the fact is that fundraising is, I would say it's never easy. It's not particularly an easy thing, although I would also say it's not very complex. You know, it's one of those things that once you have learned how to do it, you basically can just keep repeating and keep repeating, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. So when my clients work with me, they may very well be fundraising for the very first time. They may never have raised money before. And we work on micro budget, we work on higher budget films. I have 4 films going forward this year that are at $1.5 to $5 million. And those budgets are always going to have to include connecting with A-listers. And then I also have a lot of films that are micro budget that don't necessarily need to have A-listers in them. But we go through a process. We go through a 7-step process that we're going to also look at today, a bit tomorrow. And we walk through that process so that my client can go and have clear and credible conversations with investors. Some of my clients, a lot of my clients are also raising money in other ways, grants, corporate sponsorship, foundations. I just heard this morning that one of my clients got some funding from a foundation. So there are many, many, many different ways of fundraising, and going for investors is not the only way, although it is often the fastest way to get a film funded. I talk about fast money and slow money. You know, if you get a grant from the federal government, for example, the federal government in America, that's the slowest money you can get. You know, the state of Florida, where I'm at right now, might be a little faster. You know, Miami-Dade, which is the county I'm living in, might be a little faster. a foundation might be a little faster, but an individual is always going to be the fastest money you can ever get, whether that's a donation, whether it's a small donation that you get through crowdfunding, whether it's a major donor, or whether it's an investor. So we work with all these different types of money. And the first thing that we do when you work with me is we assess your project, we assess the value of your project. And once we know how much your project is worth, then we raise money based on that. So we're always going to those investors, to those funders, with what I like to call an exciting business opportunity. We're not going to go to them with, I like to say, filmmakers are the only people I know who like to make a widget for $23 and sell it for $3. That's not good business. That is not good business, but that's what a lot of times filmmakers are doing. So we go through a process, we work out what the value of the film is, we look at the script, we tailor the script to be more marketable, to get distribution, and then we prepare you to be able to have those conversations. Or if you're working on a documentary, we work on the proposals, we work on the grants, we work on how you're presenting yourself in writing. We work on how you're presenting yourself in the verbal pitch. I just had a fabulous experience on Monday and Tuesday, which is where I met Armando in Miami. We were at the Miami Media and Film Market, and they had a process where you could apply to pitch with projects. And all 4 of my clients who submitted to pitch were accepted. And so I went and pitched with, well, I pitched one of my clients' projects. She's in England. She didn't come. And then my other 3 clients who were Miami clients came, and I pitched with them, and we had the opportunity to pitch one project that's a music story from Miami. We got to pitch to the head of CAA Latino. That was amazing. And we got to pitch to production companies. One of my clients, they're going to take my client's project to MIPCOM, which is a big market that happens. So it was just very, very exciting. But what was great was to be able to see how well my clients can pitch. You know, it's really a great thing to see what happens when you start to get some training in pitching. So anyway, if you would like to talk to me about working with me, Emily will put the link to my calendar in the chat, and we will start working on raising some money. Okay. So for our last hour or so, I would like to present to you my 7-step process that I take my clients through. And the name of the formula, I call it the Film Box Office Success Formula. And in success, there are 7 letters. And the first letter, S, is what I would call the most important element of a film. What does that S stand for, would you think? What is the most important element of any film? What could that S stand for? Leos, you're cheating.
Script.
Armando, script. That's right. Leos, you're a very good student, I have to say. Very good. We just started working together, but it's like, do you think you sound like night and day compared to when we met?
I think it's my mindset that has changed.
Yeah. In what way do you think?
Because I'm thinking about the end of the process.
Hmm.
And not about the beginning. Actually, I'm thinking about the end of my next project.
Aha, that's very interesting. Yes, it's so cool because I think filmmakers are often really scared about focusing on the money, and filmmakers have this fear that I'm going to sell out. I don't want to sell out. I want to be an artist. I don't want to sell out. But the truth is that what I see with my clients is when they start to focus a bit on the business and the marketing and the audience, the quality of the work starts to improve. you know, and that's very interesting because often my clients, when they start working with me, all they've been focusing on so far is the creative, right? Is on the script, is on the character, is on the dialogue, those kind of things. And they haven't been thinking about this other side, which is the business side. And as I said, they so often have a sort of rejection of that. And yet, once they open up to that, I feel as though the creative gets better. And then, of course, once you start raising money and you have the money to hire professionals, ideally professionals who are better than you, you know, then you really have the quality of your film and your storytelling go up.
You also have to be very creative in order to adjust your project artistically to a lower budget. It's also a kind of creativity.
I think very
as
creative.
my partner and I were doing this week for our script a little bit, you know, we adjusted it. So, okay, how are we going to film this with a lower budget and making it work still?
Yes, yes, because there are two ways, it seems to me, that you can raise money. One is you raise money, we've got more money, we've got more money, we've got more money. The other way is we bring down the cost, right? So they meet in a place that, again, that place of meeting is an exciting business opportunity for somebody. So for an investor. So the script is the most important thing. And in those 7 steps, the film box office success formula, success has 7 letters. S for script, U for you make your film, C for calculate the value of your film, which is something that no filmmaker I have ever met has done. The second C is create a distribution plan. E stands for the easiest fundraising plan for you. S start production, S start fundraising, S start production. So we go through all those steps, but we spend the most time on step number 1, which is creating that script. Now, most of you as filmmakers, if you've already got a script for your film, most of you as filmmakers have already spent the most amount of time on your script. Is that true?
Yes.
You've already spent the most amount of time.
Yes.
But when I look at a script, I'm not only looking at it in terms of the story. And I've really learned to not really worry very much about the people who come to work with me. I'm not very worried about their scripts. The kind of people who come to work with me have already put tons of work into their scripts. Their scripts are already good. Most of the people who come to work with me have a fairly humble opinion of themselves and their work, and they keep wanting to make their scripts better. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what I see is it's working in a vacuum, and it's not working towards having the film be more marketable, which is a very different set of questions to have. And so to have a script be marketable is to really be thinking about the audience. And I'm going to just share with you, I hope he wouldn't mind, one of my clients who pitched this in these last couple of days. And my client is so excited about his script. It's just ridiculous. He's kind of like this. He's so excited because actually a really interesting thing happened. My friend and colleague who ran a kind of, she never called herself a coach, but she ran an entertainment incubator, it was called. And I mentioned my client's name the other day, and she said, "Oh my God, he's working with you?" And I said, "Yes." And she said, "He worked with me 20 years ago." I said, "Oh, really?" And she said, "And he was really pushing it then. And 20 years later, he still has not made his film. This is a feature film." And I said, "Well, he's for sure making it now. He's going into production in November." And she said, "Well, good for him, because he's been trying for so long." And I said, "Well, he's very excited." And she said, "Well, I would think he would be after trying for so long, and now it's actually happening." So anyway, we went and pitched this company, And we're very clear that the film is moving forward, you know, fine. But this company is going to take it to this big market and is going to talk to other people, and who knows what might come of it. So we were in the pitch, and my client said the story. The story is a Miami choreographer and I'm not going to do the pitch. I'm not going to do it as well as he can, but this Miami choreographer is given a key to her grandmother's storage unit and finds Nazi gold in it. And she has to protect her teenage son from these Nazi killers who show up looking for the gold, and still get her ballet on the stage by Friday. So it's a thriller, but it's set in the world of ballet. And the guy we were talking to started to point out how we kept making our audiences smaller. So ballet, he said, he used the word elite. It's a very elitist kind of thing to do, you know, ballet, very elitist. And I was like, wow, okay, that's a good point. Because the truth is, the company that he has working with him is not a classical ballet company, it's a contemporary dance company. But ballet is a smaller group than dance. Right? Dance is a bigger group. And John, what were you going to ask?
What's the name of the guy?
Oh, it's just one of my clients. I'm not going to say his name, just so that I can say whatever I want.
No, because I think that film is in
Oh, you know
Miami.
him. Yes, he was.
That's the thing.
He was involved. Yes.
Because this ballet film, I don't know if you know the producer Angela Carroll.
Yes.
She said, she sent me that. She told me, "Oh, give me your link material, then I'm gonna propose you for the film." And she just wrote me 2 days ago. Now you're telling me about this ballet film. I'm like, okay, I got it. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent. So, but it was so interesting to me, because I've heard him use the word ballet for a long time, but I had never thought about that. There's a dance audience, and then there's a ballet audience, you know. And he said, well, you know, is the movie, would it be possible? He was very kind. Would it be possible to make the movie about younger people rather than older people? So the mother, right, is older, the teenager. So in one day, you know, we flipped the log line to focus on the son rather than on the mother. And once again, he's saying you can get a bigger audience if you have a younger character than an older character. And again, same movie, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. We're just talking about marketing, marketability. But he just brought up some very, very good points. So these are the kind of things that when you're speaking to people in the industry, that they can point out, you know, that was really helpful. Well, I was like, oh my God, yeah, it's not ballet. It's not ballet, like, you know, with buns on their heads. It still is an elitist thing. I can tell you, contemporary dance is, but there's no reason to use the word ballet, you know. So that was just a very interesting process, very, very interesting. And but this marketability question, you know, is so very, very important when you're thinking about your scripts. So when you are thinking about marketability, one of the things to really think about is, who is my audience? Who is my audience? So let's see, I know Armando's project. Theo, I don't know much about your project. Do you know anything about your audience yet?
Sure, that's a tough one. Not yet.
No, have you written your
But,
script? Have you written your script already?
Yeah, I do. I do have a couple of, I think, two stories. One is about polygamy, because
Oh,
where I am in South Africa, polygamy is very popular. But I want to tell the other side of polygamy, because people are always showing the good side of it. So I thought if I tell a story about, expose that side of polygamy. So I would like to make that a feature film, but I
yes.
don't even know. But so yeah, that's the story that I
That's
want
the
to go
one that
out
you
with.
think you want to do. Okay,
Yeah.
so do you think that women or men would be more excited about your film?
I think both they would. I mean, women, because like I'm saying here in South Africa, everyone, polygamy, they think it's the thing because the people that are in polygamy, they are in polygamy with quite, rich men. So now, obviously, the fights are not exposed, and there's a lot of witchcraft that goes into, and obviously the kids as well, the kids side. So I think both men and women, yeah, the men and the women, they
Mhm.
would definitely have an interest, and also the kids themselves in how the whole polygamy thing affects them, if someone had to expose that. So that's my story. That's the story that I would like to start with, if, yeah, given an opportunity. Yeah.
That's great. And the project that I pitched on behalf of my client, she's British and Nigerian. And her story is a horror film. But it starts out with this sort of wealthy family. She doesn't call it Nigeria. She's made up a name for a pretend country, but and the father comes home one day with a second wife. And the child, as any child might do, says, "Get out of my house." And the second wife basically from then on starts to use spells and demons. And as I said, it's a horror film, that impact her throughout her life. So again, I'm not doing justice to it. I did pitch it better last week. I mean, on Monday, but so here we have the evil second wife, the nice first wife, the alcoholic father, and the child who then grows up to be this. She goes out and she joins the diplomatic service and sort of things like that. So we have all these characters that an audience can connect with, right? And then in the marketing opportunities that we have to sell this story to an audience, to a distributor, to an investor, it's really all the same thing, to your actors, to your crew, to everybody who wants to be involved in the film. You're always marketing your story to get people to come on board, whether it's in whatever role that is. So it might be that you might think about the log line for your story in a bit of a different way, just because you're thinking, well, who are my audiences? Well, it's men and it's women. Who else would like to have us play around? Brett, let's play around with your story. What's your log line?
So my log line for I wrote that horror, Joe, after I spoke to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what? I have now watched 2 seasons of Gangs of London because of you. It's all your fault.
Nah.
After I watched the first episode and then I saw the name come up, Gareth Evans, I was like, oh, because I'm a big fan of Gareth Evans.
So my log line for the horror film that I just wrote is, well, what I've got so far is, in a cursed forest, a group of friends face betrayal and a relentless axeman. As love, rivalry, and survival intertwine, daylight becomes their only hope against the dark secrets lurking in the shadows.
Great. So I'm really getting a really strong sense of the world of the story, you know, the forest and all that. What's not happening, and I find this very common, very common. I see nearly all my clients write ensemble stories. Do you know what I mean by an ensemble story?
Fictional.
No, it's more where there's, you said in your log line, a group of friends,
Yeah.
right? So an ensemble is where you have several actors who are all kind of at the same level.
Yeah.
Nobody's a star. They're all kind of at the same level. I find this very, very common with my clients. They will tend to write for an ensemble, you know, and in a way, all of the quote unquote group of friends are all equivalent. And what human beings do is they really connect to particular characters, you know. So
I am changing that log line though, because there's
Yeah.
two main characters that are the main focal point of the film, and it's more
Okay.
based on them, and then the other characters are part of the group. They're not really relevant. They're the ones that get killed
Right.
off first. So they don't really need to be in the log line,
Right.
which the more I've read over my script and I've added more depth into certain characters with a different story, which brings more of an arc to the film. B, his sister went missing, so he's a key part, and he's going to the forest where she was her last location was seen. So he's a big figure in this thing, but it's his story builds, so no one really knows about this, so no one really knows why he's come, type thing. And then the other character is Riri, who's obviously, she's his crush. They like intertwine love type thing, but they don't act on it, if that makes sense. And then there's obviously the Axeman who goes around. He's like the cursed person that goes around. You step in his track, chop your head off, like type thing. So they're the three main characters in it. And then the other ones are just like pawns in the game, just to fill the pages of being chopped up and gruesome and all that crap.
So lovely. Because now that I've seen Gangs of London, I know exactly where your mind is at. So
I've never watched Gangs of London.
wait, you were not the person who told me to watch Gangs of London?
Wouldn't be me. I've never watched it.
Oh my God, I thought it was you. It was somebody I met the same day that I met you then.
All
But somebody
Brits sound the same. You know what I mean, Joe?
Yeah, I know, they all sound the same. But yeah, somebody told me to watch Gangs of London, and I thought it was you. And so I went and I watched Gangs of London. It's so violent.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Mm.
So violent. And then at the end of the first episode, I was like, oh, Gareth Evans, because he made a low budget film. I can't remember the name of it now, but it just was this huge hit with all the action. And he made it in Thailand or something. So he's Welsh. I don't know how this Welsh guy was making basically kung fu kind of movies in Thailand or something. And then he made another film that was a huge success, and now he's got a 2-season series called Gangs of London, super violent and really great. I could not stop watching it. If you like violence, if you like seeing people getting hacked up. So I don't know who told me to watch it. All right, so but as you're listening to Brett, everybody, did you hear how the story started to get so much more compelling when it was focused on the characters? Did you hear that like instantly happen? No, not sure. All right, Brett, try the log line again, focusing on your characters.
Okay. In a cursed forest. Do you want the original log line or a new one?
No. I'm having you play with it.
Oh, okay. So I'd say now, in a cursed forest, B visits. I don't really know. I haven't really. You put me on the spot here.
Joe. Of course, I'm putting you on the spot.
I would say in a cursed forest, B
Yes.
visits the burial ground of his sister's last location, where love, rivalry, and survival intertwine. Daylight becomes their only hope against the dark secrets lurking in the shadows. Of a relentless axeman.
Okay, so what's happening is the world is still winning out over the characters.
Yeah.
And so I would say I would start at something like this. Following in the footsteps of his long lost sister,
Oh, that's good.
be something, 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 right? So the world is really of no consequence.
Yeah.
Is what I would say. The
So
world
would you
doesn't-
say, like, sorry, just going off that. So would you say then that the Cursed Lake, or whatever I refer to, I don't want to really give too much away, but the Cursed Lake, for example, that's irrelevant. It's more based, your log line should be more based on characters than
I have to be very
location.
careful, I would say, Brett, because I'll say something and the next thing I start hearing people quote me back at me and they say, well, you said that the world doesn't count and it's not important. And I'm
Now, I know
like,
the world counts, but I'm saying, like, in a log line, you know, if you're trying to sell it for a perspective of someone that
all I'm
isn't
saying is
an audience.
that people respond to character,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
We all, as human beings, we respond to character. You know, we don't say that the Odyssey was about a very long ship traveling through the ocean and going on many adventures. We say Odysseus headed out on a ship to find right? So we're always far more interested in the hero's journey than in anything else.
Yeah.
And so the truth is that people just respond to character.
Okay.
And so the world is always fun, you know, oh, we're going to be in the woods with an axe murderer. That sounds like fun, you know, if you like that sort of thing. So we're in the woods with an axe murderer, but if we don't care about B and Ray, was it?
Riri.
Riri, then they can just get chopped up for all we care.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I went with like a Jason X style horror with like a mixture of like Into the Woods. So like it's got the suspense and the jumpiness and the edge of your seat, and then it's got your psychopathic, like cursed.
Yeah,
Wheels.
but we have to care about those people, otherwise, you know.
Yeah.
I remember one time I was on the jury another year of the Brazilian Film Festival, and there was this film that somebody had spent a lot of money making, recreating this whole historic moment in Brazil when the first arrivals from Europe were not in charge yet, and the indigenous people had these people captured, and they were basically, you know, killing them all off. And I remember at one point I'm watching this movie, and I finally said, "Kill the motherfucker!"
Yeah,
you know, because it was just so annoying, and I didn't care about him, and I just wanted it to be over, you know. So if and there are some really big, I would say the problem with Waterworld was that, you know, Waterworld is a famous, you know, money losing big movie, and to me the issue is that we don't care about the characters. So all of that expense on the water and everything is like, who cares, you know? Armando, what about your story? Tell us about your story. You're still muted. You got it?
Oh,
There
now,
you go.
yeah.
Yeah.
My story is about an American woman who travels to Cuba to meet for first time her father. She is in her early 40s, and she just recently find out who his father was. her mother didn't tell her all her life because she had an affair with a Cuban musician who was on tour in New York back in the early 50s or late 40s. And she knew that he was married. So she didn't want to complicate more the thing. When he left, she was pregnant, but she never told him. So she hid that for her daughter all her life. She said that her father was dead, or stories. And then she's already a little bit ill, the mother, and she thinks that she needs to tell her who her actual father is. And she told Marilyn, the name of the character is Marilyn. So Marilyn said, okay, I'm gonna go to Cuba to meet him, but I have reserved. Why did he abandon you? Why did he abandon me? And even when the mother said, no, he didn't know. He said, anyway, I don't know who this man is, so I'm going to pretend that I'm going to have an interview with him for a documentary, since he was a famous Cuban musician, right? So she arrives to Cuba. By the way, he already had left the music. He quit the music because he felt, at the time, that the music, even when took him all over the world, and it was his passion.
Armando, I'm going to stop you. Because
yes.
One of the things that you're going to need to do with this story is to be able to tell it
Condense.
in 2 sentences. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, I thought you wanted me to tell it again, but I needed to do it.
no, that's fine. But so in your case, now we totally have characters who we're interested in, right? I mean, it just so happens that there's New York and there's Cuba and all of that, but we're already interested that there's this woman who creates she lies about being a journalist and making a documentary so that she can go and meet the man who's actually her father, without telling him that that's why she wants to meet him. So that's really, there's a lot of conflict there with those characters. So do you think that you can get that down to 2 sentences?
Yes, I have a log line that is like 2 sentences,
Okay,
but I just wanted to tell a little bit of the background of the story. But yeah, it is, and I have it reading, so it's even better. I just gotta say it. Marilyn, an American woman, travels to Cuba to meet her father, wreaking havoc in her newly found Cuban family.
And so what I would say is that the conflict in storytelling, there's always a conflict. It could be internal, it could be external, or it could be between people, right? So, Brett's character is going into the woods to find out what happened to his sister. And then the Axeman is going to get in his way, right? With Theo, I don't know enough about her story yet to know. But in your case, she's going to find her father. But what's the conflict?
Okay.
Does her father want to find out he has a daughter? Does he?
No, he doesn't know. He doesn't know at all.
I'm saying, but what's the conflict? Where is the conflict there?
Okay. The conflict is that when she gets to Cuba, she gets to meet not only her father, but also the family, his wife, and the children, which are 2, a boy and a girl. She's already late 30s or something. So she fell in love with the whole family, with her brother, with half brother, with half sister, with the mother of the the wife of his father, and then now she fears that by revealing who she is going to disrupt the family, because the wife doesn't know that he have an affair. But what I wanted to say before when I was telling it is that sure I lost it. Well, anyway, that he quit the music when he come back to Cuba. After that, he quit music because he have like a guilt. He associate the music with cheating, with being away from the love of his life. So he quit the music at the time and dedicate to her and to build his family, right? So the conflict is that now she fell in love with her new family, and vows to tell him or them that she is actually his daughter, because she feared that she's going to disrupt the whole family and create a chaos in there, and you know. So now she doesn't know, even when her goal going to Cuba is to disclose that she is his daughter. Now she fears that
So
that's
she
going to
has
happen.
an
That he's going
internal
to
conflict.
look.
She has an internal conflict.
Yes,
There's an
yes.
internal conflict.
Internal clock.
What I would like you all to do this evening is to work on the log line of your film and get it down to 2 sentences max. And I'm just going to show you, here I am at the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival. So when you're at a film festival, usually you don't know anything about the film. So I just randomly picked this film. I think it's called Mate, but I don't really know if it's an English film where people use the word mate. Yeah, I guess, well, it's from Australia. Yeah, they use mate in Australia. Yeah. All right. So here's the log line of this movie. After a long time apart, local deadbeat John must take care of reserved schoolboy Jack over a weekend in an insular working class outpost of Western Sydney. Okay, sentence number 1. And we have John, who's a deadbeat, who's now got to take care of this boy, Jack, over a weekend. Okay. However, Jack's attempt to reestablish their relationship is threatened as John's self-destructive nature emerges. So John is trying to be somebody who can take care of someone, but there's going to be difficulty because his self-destructive nature is going to appear. So the way that this log line is written is you have 2 sentences that reveal about the character and then reveal about the conflict. And that's what I'm going to say. But we have another sentence here, which they can get away with. Mate is an uncompromising examination of masculinity, maturity, and the challenges of growth within a changing social landscape, featuring star-making performances from Joshua Brennan and Jeremy Blewett. Sounds pretty good. Now, what happens is when you go to a film festival, this is it. This is all you have to tell you whether you should go and watch this movie. It's these 2 lines. Because we don't know about this film. We don't know, who the director is. We don't know. That's it. So a lot of times, the only marketing you can do for your film is the title and these 2 sentences. That may be the only real estate you have to market your film. And sometimes, on Monday and Tuesday, when I was pitching with these 4 clients, we had scheduled 10-minute meetings, 10 minutes. And we had to get our pitch, and I've also trained my clients, we're not talking for 10 minutes. This is not about us talking for 10 minutes. This is about us finding out as much as we can about what they're looking for in those 10 minutes. And in one case, it was really good because we pitched something and within 1 minute, we found out it was the wrong thing to pitch and pivoted to another project. Right? But this, the title and your log line may often be the only thing you can do to market your film, especially if it's micro budget, you don't have famous names. You know, if we were able to tell this log line and then say, oh, you know, this is starring you know, Ryan Gosling and Mark Wahlberg, right? It doesn't really matter what the log line is because it's starring Ryan Gosling and Mark Wahlberg. But very often, this is the only thing you have that you can use to market your film. And as I said, at the beginning, when you're raising the finance to make your film, this may be the only thing that you have a chance to get across to your investor. You know, maybe you meet them, like I'd met somebody last night at the gala. Maybe you meet them in Starbucks, you know, maybe you meet them on a hike. But this may be as far as you get to get somebody to be interested in what you have to say. This is amazing. The awards list here, the Clermont-Ferrand International Short Film Festival is the biggest market for short films in the world. All the distributors who distribute short films go there. And the film won the Grand Prix in international competition. So this must be a very good film. So now we know a little bit more. It won it was an official selection at the Brussels Short Film Festival, at the Sydney Film Festival, at the Palm Springs International. These are all big festivals, big festivals. The Melbourne International Film Festival, Thessalonica is a big festival. Boston, it's been in some of the premier film festivals around. List goes on and on and on. Okay. And then we have 2 film stills, which I would say are pretty bad, but this is how they get to market their film, right? But as I said, when you are going around in the world, often people will say to me, well, where do you find investors for your film? And I would say, you know, to turn it around and say, if you have a log line that really, really can stop people in their tracks, then you can find investors anywhere. But if you are not able to deliver that log line like that, crisp and quick, or if you do what most filmmakers do, which is they're like, oh, my log line, let me think about that. What is my, I don't know, let me look it up, I'll find it. That's how most filmmakers sound when they're asked about their film. Or they won't tell anything about the film. You know, oh, I have 2 horror films. Right? That is not marketing your film. Right? So you want to have a log line that's really powerful. And the title also is really important. It's very common, you know, for people to make a title that's the name of a character. And I always say that's complete waste of marketing time. Because Brett, you know, he's basically making a very violent horror film. And all the people who love violent horror films need to know in the title that that's what this film is. Do you have a title for your film, Brett?
Yeah, it's called Axe Lake.
There you go. All right. So in the title, we know there's an axe. This is not gonna be good, right? There's an axe. We are in trouble, you know? So when you are creating your title and your log line, not only is it the first marketing, it sometimes is the only marketing. So what I would like you to do tonight is to work on your title and your log line. So when we come back tomorrow, I want to hear everybody's title and log line and see, you know, how the marketing is going. But as I said, this is always going to be the beginning. Always going to be the beginning. I was so proud of my 3 clients, because the 4th one didn't come. But I was so proud of my 3 clients. They were able to very clearly and succinctly, all of them, say, this is the log line of the film. This is what it is. One of them, we had our 10 minutes. She pitched 2 films. As I said, one we pitched and it didn't go well. We switched to something else, which went very well. You know, so that's what you want to be. Those are the skills you want to be able to really hone so that you can, as I said, you can be in Starbucks and say, you know, hey, I'm a filmmaker, and you're standing in line, you're buying a coffee, and hey, I'm a filmmaker, and my film's called Axe Lake, in which you know, it's gone in 5 seconds. And you can tell already if people are interested or not. Because they might not be, you know, if they look at the watch and go, oh, I gotta pick the cat up at the vet, you know, you know, they're not interested. But if you tell them the title and the log line and they're interested, you know, one of my closest friends, Jamin O'Brien, is a film producer. I'll put his name in the chat. And he, Jamin O'Brien. And his first film that he made is called Hurricane Streets. And they basically, he and his director had just graduated from college. And Hurricane Streets was going to be their first film after film school. And one day they were at a bar, and I do have to admit that they were very cute, very cute. But they met this woman in the bar, and she ended up investing $250,000 in them making their first feature film, which went on to win 4 awards at Sundance. It's called Hurricane Streets. And no film before in the history of Sundance had ever won 4 awards, you know? And it got sold for $4 million, which was a lot of money. And what I think is also interesting about that story is that that woman is still today investing in films. You know, she had a really great first experience, and she has kept doing it over and over and over again. And so investors are everywhere, but most filmmakers are not prepared to speak to them. Most filmmakers are not ready to have an exciting business opportunity to offer to those filmmakers, right? But before we can offer them an exciting business opportunity, we have to offer them an exciting story. But the mistake most filmmakers make is that they tell the story. So let's say we had these pitch sessions, they were 10-minute windows. And what most filmmakers would do, they walk in and they would talk for 10 minutes and leave without knowing anything about what the person is looking for, right? So we pitched for about a minute and then used the rest of the time to ask questions and find out. I did have to kick one of my clients under the table. I have to admit, I did have to kick one of my clients under the table, but he instantly went, so nudge under the table. He went, he never said another word. Never said another word. But so, you know, to have this incredibly concise, pithy marketing title and logline that makes people, that gets people interested, that's how you're going to find investors. All right. So any last questions before we close? Leo's and then Armando.
I just wanted to ask, because we haven't gotten to that yet, if everything you've talked about is only applies to features, or like, for example, distribution and all that, or if it also applies for short film.
No, it all applies for short films. That example I just showed you from the Trinidad and Tobago Film Festival, that's a short film.
So there's
Sorry?
there's hope for short film as well.
Well, I
make
wonder.
money.
No, not to make money. No,
Okay.
not
That's
to make.
my question, about distribution, because you distribute a film in order to make money, mostly, no?
Well, so the methodology that I'm working on with you, that I work with all my short film clients, is that we're raising the money first.
Yes, of course.
Right? We're raising the money first, so we're not going to lose any money. And then, so distribution is going to be for you and Netta is really about getting the word out about your work. This short film is an opportunity to show off your work, to introduce your work to people, to audiences. I just want to make sure you don't do it by using your savings and going into debt.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But you're not going to make money on a short, There are always, every year, there are a couple of shorts that do break through. I mean, to win the International Grand Prize at Clermont-Ferrand that's pretty cool, The shorts that make it through usually are, shorts that win Oscars and things like that. Like Hair Love. Hair Love won an Oscar for Best Animated Short. And now, is it Netflix? I can't remember which streaming platform has brought Matthew Cherry on to create a series really based on Hair Love. So his career's made now from that film. So I don't know if he made any money on the film, but his career was made on the film, right? He wasn't my client. If he were my client, I just would have made sure that he raised all the money up front to make the film, so he didn't owe anybody anything when he delivered it and entered it into the festival. Does that make sense?
Totally, but I think my question is whether all these platforms deal with short films at all or not.
You just have to do the research on that. For example, on Netflix, there are some shorts, and they tend to be Oscar-winning shorts.
Right.
But you can do research. Another thing that would be useful to do research, Leos, is which of the festivals that take shorts are also Academy nominating festivals, because there are only certain festivals. You have to get into certain festivals to be nominated for an Oscar. So you can find out those kind of things. Somebody else. Oh, Armando, what was your question?
My question was, what is the best time? Because we were talking at the beginning about distribution, right? My question is, I hear rumors, what is the best time to approach distributors? At the very beginning or when the film is made?
Well, so that is an awesome question. And most distributors are not interested in anything except a finished film. Basically, they're not interested. But there's always, whenever I answer a filmmaker's question, I have to answer it on several different levels. So let's start with a micro budget film with no names. Okay. A distributor is not interested unless that's a finished film. Okay. Then let's say it's a bit bigger budget, and let's say it's in a genre that sells. So it's a horror film, it's a thriller, it's a family film, it's a faith-based film. So then the distributors are going to be interested because they know they can sell them, even if they have no names.
Okay.
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 Then if we get to a little higher budget where, like I gave the example of Secret Society, that's in a kind of like, I'm not sure what their budget was, but let's call it $700,000.
Mhm.
They didn't really have names per se, but they had a lot of influences in the film. A lot of influences played in the film. So they were using the kind of Instagram side of things to get audiences for their film. And they work very closely with influencers on those movies. So you can, they didn't even go to a distributor. They just put it on Amazon themselves. And then somebody put it on Tubi for them. So distributors, like most investors, only come in when you get to the next level up, which is with A-list actors. So if you have a movie with an A-list actor attached, a distributor will be interested before the movie is made and will actually take care of pre-sales. So once you get an A-lister attached to your movie, you can pre-sell the movie. And you can make the money. Again, we go back to, you can make the money that it costs to make the movie before you make the movie. But again, that's not going to happen until you have A-listers involved. But that was a great question. You know, this is a really small but mighty class. Excellent questions. Excellent, 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 excellent. So, all right, we're going to close for today. And I will see you back here tomorrow. At what time, Emily?
1:30 Eastern, 10:30 Pacific.
And
but all these people are all overseas, so
South
they'll be
Africa, and who knows? But anyway, basically the same time that we started today.
yes.
And
Nice meeting everyone. Have a good
pardon?
evening.
Bye, Brett.
Nice
See you
meeting everyone. Have a good evening. See you tomorrow.
Tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
Take care.
We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same bat channel.
I'm
Okay.
interested in working with you, but how did I contact with Emily?
Did Emily not put the calendar in the
I
chat?
did, but I will email. I did put it in the chat, but I'll email Armando right after, now.
Okay.
And so good night, everybody. Barbara, you just joined. Did you realize we started a few hours ago? You're muted, Barbara. Barbara, you're
Hi.
muted. Oh,
Hi, good afternoon. I went to a restaurant yesterday and much to my despair, you know, when you are eating, you are hungry, you bite something and it was shrimp and I thought seems strange, but my stomach was more eager than my brain and I kept eating. Then I got a sick stomach, bad, couldn't get up and I still have to work today.
oh,
And
wow.
I'm in bed. I'm still in bed, as you can see. Feeling
Yes.
sick. And I tipped them. How do you
my
feel?
God.
How do you feel when you still tip people when you feel sick? But I'm here and I said, I'm so sorry. And I sent you an email to Joanne asking your understanding. And I mentioned to the fellow attendees, if there is any tip that they can send to me, I do appreciate it.
Oh, what a lovely question. Yes.
Thank you, dear. I have 3 projects for screenwriting and I need a push. I've been holding one of them. I already have 40 pages.
Barbara, hold on. We're not going to go into it today. We'll go into it tomorrow. And I also want to say, are you Brazilian?
How do you know? So,
because I just was the president of the jury of the Brazilian Film Festival in Miami last week.
Bom, because of the accent. Bom, because of the accent. Some people think I'm Eastern Europe.
No falo português.
Muito bom.
No falo português.
But you probably know the most important words. Caipirinha, tudo bem? Caipirinha means the rum lemon drink.
And are you zooming in from the US or from where?
From the US. I was in California for many years, then I moved to Nevada. I'm just beside Reno.
Lovely. Okay. So Barbara, you take care of yourself, feel better, and we'll be back tomorrow. And then I want to hear about your projects. And tonight's homework, so you can do the homework that everybody else is doing, is to pick one project, one of your projects, and work on the title and the log line, and be
Lovely.
ready with that tomorrow.
Title log line. Are you British by any chance?
I am.
worked
I'm a
for British-
Londoner.
I worked for British Airways for many years. I love your accent.
Thank you.
And I love mushrooms. I learned how to eat mushrooms morning, day, and night. And now I
Oh.
love mushrooms.
I hate mushrooms.
Oh my gosh, give me them all.
You can have mine. You can have
They're all
mine.
good. So I'll do the log line, a title
Yes.
and log line for tomorrow.
Yes. We'll
Thank you
see you
so much.
tomorrow. Thank you.
Lovely.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you too. Bye-bye, beautiful
Bye,
people.
everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Emily.
you. And sorry. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
dear.
Bye.
Bye-bye.